Hi everyone, and welcome to Buddy Up Online. My name's Gareth, and this is week 3 of Celebrating Diversity. So last week, you guys looked at feelings with Nadine, and you talked about how you might be able to tell how somebody is feeling on the inside by what you saw on their face. So if somebody had a big smile, you might say that they might be happy. Or if somebody had raised eyebrows and a circular mouth, you might say they were shocked. So that was feelings last week. And what we're going to be doing this week is looking at the word empathy. Empathy. And empathy is similar to feelings. It's going to help us understand how people are feeling inside. But instead of just looking at them, empathy allows us to ask people questions to find out how they might be doing. Now, I'm sure this is something that you do every day. It's something that you would do in the playground or something that you would do at home. And it might just be that moment in class where you see somebody, if you might say they were looking sad, they had a frown, you would be like, hey, what's up? That would be using your empathy skills. Okay? Now, empathy is a skill, and like other skills like playing music or playing football or cooking, the more we use it, the better we are at it. So today we're going to be exploring empathy. We're going to be empathy explorers, and I'm going to show you some of the tools that I would use to explore empathy and try to understand how other people are feeling. Now we're going to be using the same things we always do. We're going to be reading a story. I'm going to show you an easy activity that you can do at home. And this week I am going to be introducing you to a couple of friends of mine. So if you're ready to explore the world of empathy, settle in and let's go. The first empathy tool that I want to share with you guys today is actually a song. And firstly, that's because songs put me in a really good mood. Secondly, they also help me remember things. So I'm going to show you this song now. Okay, so it just reads, I'm an empathy explorer walking in your shoes. Now that doesn't mean literally that you're walking in somebody else's shoes that might be way too big for you. It just means that you're trying to understand what somebody else's life might be like. Okay. So I'm an empathy explorer walking in your shoes. I will listen and ask questions. It's really important. I will listen and ask questions to understand you. Okay, so I'm just going to put this up on the wall here now. Give me 1 second. And then, if you like, I am going to ask you to sing along with me. So, I'm an empathy explorer. And we're going to go in 1, 2, 3. I'm an empathy explorer, walking in your shoes. I will listen and ask questions to understand you. I'm an empathy explorer, walking in your shoes. I will listen and ask questions to understand you. Very good. Thanks for singing along with me there. Any good explorer needs a toolkit to help them out, and empathy explorers are no different. So I have this little box here, but for the minute it's empty, and we need to fill it with a couple of different things that might help me on my empathy exploration. So the first thing we want to think about is keeping a lookout for when it might be good to use our empathy skills. We want to notice. We want to think about when would it be good to use empathy. Can you think of any times? I think if somebody's a little bit quieter than usual in your class, that might be a good time. Or if there's a new pupil coming into your school and into your class, that might be a good time as well. So the first thing we're going to do is keep a lookout for times when we can use our empathy. Once we've found those times, we need to stop and think. We need to stop and think of a question that we can ask to help us understand this other person. So I've brought my thinking bell, which is going to help me think of a question to ask. The third and final thing is we want to listen to the person's answer so we can understand where they're coming from and what they're experiencing. So I have some headphones here as well. I'm going to put those in my empathy toolkit. We've got that there. The final thing I'm going to put in is a copy of our song. And I'm just going to tack that along. So that's my empathy toolkit ready to go. And I think we might start practicing it really shortly with a story. So I'm going to ask you guys to join me over in Storytime Corner in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Storytime Corner. Okay, so just take a wee breath in and out. And settle in for today's story. I'm going to give myself some of the Storytime spray and you guys can have some as well. So today's story is something else, okay? And I want you guys to see if you can watch out for any times when you might be able to stop and use your empathy during this one. Okay, so something else. On a windy hill, alone, with nothing to be friends with, lived something else. He knew that's what he was because everyone said so. If he tried to sit with them, or walk with them, or join in with their games, they always said, "Sorry, you're not like us. You're something else. You don't belong." Something else did his best to be like the others. He smiled and said hi, like they did. He painted pictures. He played their games when they let him. And he brought his lunch in a paper bag just like them. It was no good. He didn't look like them or talk like them. He didn't see the things the way they saw. He didn't play the games the way they did. And as for his packed lunch, bit of green slime there. Guys, how do you think something else felt at this point? You do not belong here, they said. You're not like us, you're something else. So something else went home. He was getting ready for bed when he heard a knock on the door. Something was standing on the doorstep. "Hi there," it said. "Great to meet you. Can I come in?" "Excuse me," said something else. "You're welcome," said the creature. And it stuck out a paw, or maybe a flipper. Something else looked at the paw. "I think you've come to the wrong place." "No, this is perfect. I'm exactly where I need to be," said the creature. And before something else knew it, the creature had sat down in his chair and onto his supper. "Do I know you?" asked something else. "Know me?" the creature said. "Of course you do. Take a good look. Go on." Something else looked. And he walked around the creature from front to back and back to front. He didn't know what to say, so he didn't say anything at all. "Don't you see?" said the creature. "I'm just like you. You're something else and I'm one too." It stuck out a paw again, or maybe a flipper. Something else was too surprised to smile back, and he didn't take the paw either. "Like me?" he said. "You're not like me. In fact, you're not like anything I've ever seen. I'm sorry, but you're definitely not my sort of something else." He walked to the door and opened it. "Good night." The creature put down its paw slowly. "Oh," it said. It looked sadder and smaller. It reminded something else of something, but he couldn't think of what. Guys, who or what do you think the creature reminded something else of in that moment? Can you have a think? While he was trying to remember, the creature left. Something else remembered suddenly. "Wait!" he cried. "Don't go!" He ran after the creature, and when he caught up, he grabbed the creature by the paw and said, "You're not like me, but I don't mind. You can stay if you like to." And the creature said, "Thanks." From then on, something else had something to be friends with. They smiled and said hi to each other. They painted pictures together, they played each other's games, and they even ate their lunch together. And when something turned up that really was weird looking, they didn't say that he wasn't like them or that he didn't belong there. They moved right up and made room for him too. So, what can we learn from the story of something else? I have a couple of questions for you guys over the next couple of minutes, so I want you to put your thinking caps on. My first question for you is, at the start of the story, when something else was trying to join in those games, but the other creature said, "Sorry, you don't belong here, you're something else," how do you think he felt? He might have felt lonely, or excluded, or sad. And when I was reading the story, I kind of felt those things too. So what something else was feeling, I recognised that I felt like that sometimes, and I know what it's like to feel like that. So that's the first important thing to remember about empathy. It's about the feelings inside us, and that connects with what Nadine said last week. Number two, my question for you is, when do you think something else decided to have that empathy moment and to use his empathy skills? I think it was just after when the creature arrived and came into something else's house, and something else tried to tell him to go away. But as you can see there, something else is looking at that creature and being like, "I think you remind me of something, but I'm not sure what." As you might know, the creature reminded something else of himself. And that was the moment where something else decided to use his empathy. He decided to notice, he decided to stop and think, and he decided to run after the creature and listen. The third important thing about the story of something else is it's about people being different. So something else at the start of the story didn't talk like the other people. He didn't play the games the way they did. And that might have been why they excluded him. But as we saw, something else decided to use his empathy, even if this new creature was different from him. So empathy can sometimes be a little bit harder if we're thinking about it and we're thinking about people whose identity might be a little bit different from ours. They might like to do different things. They might look different from us. But the important thing to remember, like something else, is we can notice, we can stop and think, and we can listen to understand if people are different from us. So thanks for reading that story with me. I have something that I want to show you guys, and it was sent to me by my friends at Polar School. So they have sent a video to me that shows those 3 empathy skills live in action. So I am just going to press play on that video now. Fred the Moose and his family had just moved. It was time for Fred to start at a new school. Fred knew that not many mooses went to Polar School, and while he hoped everything would be okay, he was worried, as you'll hear.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, I am worried. Who are they? Who are they? They look different. Oh no, I don't want to look at them. I'm worried.
Alright, why What's up? What's up? It's
I'm
Polly
worried.
Penguin in the house. Did you miss me, guys? Yeah, did we all have a good winter break?
Up and away.
Yeah, I made ice. Yeah, you just take the what? Who's that?
Oh,
Oh! Who is that furry guy and where did he go? Anyway, so you take the ice and you put it outside in the water. No, the ice first. No, the water first. And then...
oh.
What? Where did that furry fella go? He looks worried.
Well, I'm just gonna
Hold
hide
on.
here.
Hold on a minute. I can notice, I can think, and I can listen. Right, okay, let me go and find him. I'm an empathy explorer.
At that moment, Polly the penguin decided to use his empathy skills.
Well, how you doing, mister?
Oh, not good.
I thought you looked a little worried.
Worried and furry.
Is this your first day?
Yeah, I don't know anyone.
Well, I'm Polly. Good to meet you.
Well, I'm Fred. Fred the Moose.
You know, here at Polar School, we like to notice, stop, and listen.
Yeah.
That helps us understand people even if we don't know them.
Oh, hey, that's great. That's like empathy.
Yeah, just like that. High five.
Oh, high five to you.
Come on, I'll introduce you to the rest of my
Thanks, Polly.
pals.
Thanks for coming to find me.
Fred settled into his first day at Polar School because Polly remembered the 3 parts of empathy: notice, think, and listen. Well, a big thanks to Polly and Fred and everybody over at Polar School for sending me that video there. Just goes to show that even though Fred was furry and nervous and shy, that Polly's empathy skills were still able to make a difference. I especially loved the little high five between the flipper and the hoof. Do mooses have hooves? I don't know. The flipper and the hoof. So, we have been looking at empathy this week, and just to recap before the end, empathy is all about understanding how other people are feeling. We've looked at our song, I'm an empathy explorer, walking in your shoes. I will listen and ask questions to understand you. So, as well as that, we have made our empathy toolkit, and we've put in something to help us to remember to look and notice when would be a good time to use empathy, stop and think about what we might say to someone, and then to listen to their answers. I want to see this week if you can make your very own personal empathy toolkit, okay? So all you need is something to remember to help you look and notice, to stop and think, and then to listen to the response. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. I want to see if you can come up with your own ways of remembering those 3 things that we talked about. The most important part about empathy is practicing it. So as well as those 3 things, I want you to see if you can write down and send to your teacher 3 times that you used your empathy toolkit as well. So we want to really put this into practice. Like I said at the start, like playing the piano, like cooking, like playing football, the more you do it, the better you are at it. And the important thing about empathy as well is it doesn't just help you, it helps everybody around you. And that's why we're talking about it today. We'll be back next week and we'll be looking at the word diversity. So we're going to celebrate diversity just like the programme says, and that will be our 4th and final week of this online Buddy Up. I hope you can join myself and Nadine then. It's going to be an especially fun week, so we're looking forward to it a lot. Finally, thanks for tuning in, and let us or your teachers know any of the work that you're particularly proud of or any feedback that you guys have for us. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.